Today we're going to be talking about whatever happened to the D's Nuts guy. Well, it turns out that after he went viral, he contracted a rare form of scrotal cancer. Wait, what did you say? Bitcoin is finally nearing all-time high levels again? That's insane! Oh boy, you know what that means. Time to take advantage of the inevitable increase of Bitcoin search queries on YouTube and cash in on the hype by making a Bitcoin-themed video. In celebration of this momentous occasion, I'd like to tell you all the story behind one of Bitcoin's most revered folk heroes, Lazlo. But you probably know him as Bitcoin Pizza Guy. So what did he do? Well, he bought some pizza with Bitcoin. Big deal, right? Not so much nowadays, but back in 2010, this was kind of a revolutionary trade. This Bitcoin for pizza trade was really the moment that showcased to the public that there was actually a somewhat functional use for cryptocurrency. It was a historic moment, as Lazlo's Bitcoin for pizza transaction is actually considered to be the first documented commercial use of Bitcoin. So how was this revolutionary trade set up, and how much Bitcoin did Lazlo use to purchase the pizza? Considering the price of Bitcoin recently, you might think that he's probably regretting his decision to trade them off. Well, let's go back and explore this weird yet pivotal moment in crypto history and also catch up with our pizza-loving protagonist. This is the story of Bitcoin Pizza Guy. But first, sponsor. This video is sponsored by Ritual Vitamins. Considering that my diet consists of primarily Taco Bell and Mountain Dew Zero, I'm probably lacking in the vitamin department. Well, that's where your boy Ritual comes in, to cover the gaps. Ritual's multivitamin has 10 essential vitamins packed into each dose, including stuff like A, D, omega-3s, and zinc, which can be difficult to get from diet alone. And for the 3 women out there that actually watch my videos, they've got a multivitamin for you as well. With Ritual, your multivitamins are shipped to your front door every month, so you can skip the trip to the grocery store and have that peace of mind knowing that you're gonna be stocked up on the good stuff. And for those of you out there that don't take a multivitamin, Ritual is a good way to really get your foot in the door and actually get in the habit of doing it. I've gotten into the habit of taking mine in the morning before brushing my teeth, and even though I'm literally just popping some pills in my mouth, for some reason I get this weird feeling like I'm actually accomplishing something. So psychologically, I guess I'm starting my day on the right foot. Right now, Ritual is offering 10% off your first 3 months by going to ritual.com/wavyweb and using code wavyweb at checkout. So make sure you check that out, and big shout out to Ritual. Let's dive into this story. This story begins with our friend Lazlo all the way back in 2010. Lazlo was an early believer in cryptocurrency and thought this newfangled internet money was going to be worth something in the future. So early in the year, he joined the bitcointalk.org forums and learned about Bitcoin mining, and using his personal computer, he began mining coins. At the time, Bitcoin was just over a year old and was dirt cheap, worth about 1/4 of a penny per Bitcoin. So tens of thousands of Bitcoin were only equivalent to a few dollars. So yeah, they were pretty much worthless, and on top of that, I think it's important to stress just how obscure of a thing Bitcoin was at this time, and also how scarcely it was used for anything functional. There was really no trading infrastructure to allow liquidity on a large scale, and there were virtually no markets accepting it as a form of payment. Keep in mind, Silk Road wasn't a thing until 2011. Bitcoin at this time existed as an entirely speculative asset. For all intents and purposes, it was practically useless. But our friend Lazlo had an idea, and he wanted to change the perception of Bitcoin. As Lazlo participated in regular conversation with other bitcointalk.org forum users, he made the passive observation that nobody on the forum was actually using Bitcoin to exchange for goods or services. They had high hopes for it and wished that it would be adopted in the future, but weren't actually taking the steps to prove that it was functional in this commercial regard. If Bitcoin was ever to be adopted on a large scale, its practical use in commercial transaction would have to be proven. On May 18th, Lazlo would take to the Bitcoin Talk forums and create a now legendary thread entitled Pizza for Bitcoins. This post was a proposal to the community, asking members to step up and show that Bitcoin had a practical use. Lazlo's plan was basically this: accept his Bitcoins, and in return, he wanted a fair value's worth of pizza and have it delivered to his house. Here's the post. I'll pay 10,000 Bitcoins for a couple of pizzas, like maybe 2 large ones so I have some left over for the next day. I like having leftover pizza to nibble on later. You can make the pizza yourself and bring it to my house or order it from a delivery place. But what I'm aiming for is getting food delivered in exchange for Bitcoins where I don't have to order it or prepare it myself. Kind of like ordering a breakfast platter at a hotel or something. They just bring you something to eat and you're happy. I like things like onions, peppers, sausage, mushrooms, tomatoes, pepperoni, etc. Just standard stuff, no weird fish topping or anything like that. I also like regular cheese pizzas, which may be cheaper to prepare or otherwise acquire. If you're interested, please let me know and we can work out a deal. Thanks, Lazlo. In short time, a handful of users on the forum would take interest in Lazlo's proposal. One user noted that the value of Lazlo's 10,000 Bitcoin was approximately 41 USD, which was plenty enough to purchase a pizza from any of the large American chains. Hell, he could get 2 or 3 with that much value. While there was community interest, Lazlo could not find a user to agree on a transaction in a timely manner. Days would pass and Lazlo would begin to think that his effort to trade Bitcoin for pizza was going to be a hopeless endeavor. On May 21st, he said this: "So nobody wants to buy me pizza? Is the Bitcoin amount I'm offering too low?" Just as he was about to give up hope on the idea entirely, a user named Bitcoin FX chimed in. "Lazlo, I would offer to buy you a pizza, but I'm not based in the USA, so they might think I'm a prank caller. If you don't get any other offers, I might look into how to go about buying you one online. Are you getting hungry or do you just like pizza?" And in short order, Lazlo responded with, "I just think it would be interesting if I could say that I paid for a pizza in Bitcoins." After this message though, Bitcoin FX would stop replying. But that's okay, we don't need Bitcoin FX anyways. Because a day later, a user would step up to the plate and finally bite on this offer. His name, Jerkos. This Bitcoin Talk user is a legend in his own right, as he would be the one to ultimately assume the role of Lazlo's pizza seller. Jerkos reached out to Lazlo in an IRC chat room where they privately brokered this pizza for Bitcoin deal. The plan was Lazlo would transfer over 10,000 in Bitcoin, and in return, Jerkos would make an online order for 2 Supreme Papa John's pizzas, which would be delivered to Lazlo's house, with a tip included. The two agreed on these terms amicably, and Lazlo happily sent over his 10,000 Bitcoins. Shortly after receiving the Bitcoin from Lazlo, Jerkos placed the order at Lazlo's local Papa John's store in Jacksonville, Florida, and within 30 minutes the pizza would arrive at Lazlo's house. This transaction occurred on May 22nd and was the first documented goods exchange involving Bitcoin. Later in the evening, Lazlo would take to the Bitcoin Talk forums and update the forum on his successful trade, and he also included some photos of him and his children, hanging out by the pizzas purchased with Bitcoin. The forum's reaction to the accomplishment was positive, with a few forum members congratulating him on the landmark transaction. While certainly a big development for the Bitcoin community, this story was by no means headline news. Rather, it more so became an internet tale that was passed around on sites like 4chan and Reddit. It was really the moment where people who had a passing interest in Bitcoin would stumble across this story and be like, "Oh, hey, you can actually, do something with Bitcoin, you can buy stuff with it, that's pretty cool. Maybe I should go pick some up now." While impossible to directly correlate a cause and effect relationship here, in the months following the Bitcoin pizza story, Bitcoin's price would dramatically increase. Between May and July, it would go from 1/4 of a cent all the way to 8 cents per Bitcoin by the end of July. That's a 3,100% gain in a matter of a couple of months. Now, the scale of this value jump is insane no matter what kind of asset you're talking about. And naturally, when any asset shows this amount of growth, there's going to be investors that just flock into it. Without Lazlo's pizza story going viral on the internet, you might not have seen people jump into Bitcoin because they simply wouldn't have even known that it was a thing. This value jump likely wouldn't have happened as early as it did. Let's fast forward to the present day. I don't think this is going to be a surprise to any of you watching, but Bitcoin now is worth a lot of money. In fact, it's worth a shitload. At the time of me making this video, Lazlo's 10,000 Bitcoin would be worth $186,115,600. With this in mind, you have to imagine that maybe Lazlo regrets his trade and wished that he held on to those coins. But to be honest, he doesn't really seem all too salty about this. Maybe he had some extra Bitcoin lying around, but here's a recent interview with him where he reflects on this whole event and he seems just honestly proud of himself for being able to prove the commercial viability of Bitcoin.
You paid 10,000 Bitcoins for one pizza?
It was 2 pizzas, actually.
Oh, you got 2 pizzas out of it.
And I mean, you know, maybe the person spent $30, $40, something like that.
What would it be worth today?
$80 million, I don't know.
$80 million.
A lot. People laugh at that, but at the time it wasn't worth anything.
Right. Is it true some people celebrate the anniversary of the day you bought the pizza?
Yeah, May 22nd, Bitcoin Pizza Day. So
it's called Bitcoin Pizza Day?
It is.
Raise your pizza.
Raise your pizza.
Raise your pizza. Toast to the one and only Lazlo. Thanks for being here and coming, and thanks for inspiring International Bitcoin Pizza Day. This is awesome. Cheers to you.
That's kind of cool, though, that around the world, people who know about it celebrate what you did, May 22nd.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool to kind of have a holiday in my honor.
And if you were wondering about Jerkos, in a text-based interview, he admits that he didn't hold Lazlo's Bitcoin for long. Rather, he sold all 10,000 coins during the July 2010 run-up. He claims that he made approximately $400 from selling them, which would mean that he sold them for around 4 cents per Bitcoin. While $400 is certainly more than a fair trade for 2 pizzas, he, like Lazlo, could have made much more if they only held. But that's pretty much the story of Bitcoin Pizza Guy, the man who proved that Bitcoin actually had some use to it. Imagine years from now if Bitcoin actually takes over as the dominant form of currency in the world. Future history books will have to explain that this hypothetical financial revolution was all started from one guy buying a pizza on an internet forum. What a time to be alive. But anyways, guys, let me know what you thought about this video down below in the comment section, and let me know who or what you'll want me to talk about next. I want to give a major shout out to my patrons. I appreciate you guys. Wavy Web Surf out. Peace.